Hello class, time for creative writing. Now today's lesson is a little bit different. Usually we're talking about how to write a sentence, or I'm reminding you to make sure that the first letter of every sentence is capital, and don't forget those punctuation marks. What about macaroni and cheese? Do you remember those lessons? Just writing a phrase is not giving a complete thought. You have to have the cheese to make it a complete thought. The sun is not a complete thought. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. But if I said the sun is hot, that's a complete thought. We're going to take a little bit of a different turn with creative writing today. And instead of writing about sentences and how they're supposed to look, we're going to talk about the title. Oh, the title is very important. The title grabs the reader's interest. It says, pick me, I want you to read me. The title is very important. Every song, every poem, every book has a title. I'm going to read you a story and you see if you can come up with a title. It was a beautiful day for a boat ride. Sue and Sam brought along their fishing poles. Mom and Sue looked for birds while Dad and Sam fished. After a picnic, everyone watched the sunset. It was a fun day for a boat ride. What title would you put with this? I saw some pretty good titles on your George Washington stories and your Abraham Lincoln stories. Can you come up with a title for this story? Here's some suggestions. See if you came up with one of these. The Boat Ride. Sure, that would work. This story is about a family going on a boat ride. How about Fun on the Water? Ooh, that sounds interesting. I wonder what happens on the water. Those would both be fine examples of a title. How do you write a title? Well, just like there's specific capitalization rules in a sentence, like you capitalize the first word, or you always capitalize the word I, or you capitalize the specific names of people, just like those capitalization rules, there are capitalization rules for writing a title. Look over here on my board, and I wrote the titles that I just talked about. Notice the T is capital, the B is capital, and the R is capital. The Boat Ride. In a title, you capitalize the important words. So since the is my first word, it is important. Boat is important, and ride is important. Now my second title looks a little bit different. On and the are not important words. So I capitalize F for fun and W for water. Fun on the water. Words like a, on, the, of, in, those are not important unless they happen to be at the beginning. So a title, you capitalize the first letter of every important word. So remember I told you that it's very important to have a title? Let me show you what it looks like if a story did not have a title. I want to read you a book today, and we're going to pick from 3. Here they are. Wait a minute. Something doesn't look right here. Here's the first book that we get to choose from. I don't see the title. Well, maybe you want to read this book. Would you like me to read you this story? Which one do you think is going to be better? Oh, you want to read this one over here. This one looks interesting. If a book does not have a title, it makes it a lot harder to make a choice of which one to pull off the bookshelf. So, in order to have people want to read the story that you work so hard on writing, you need a good title. Remember, when we write a title, all of the important words are capitalized. Now, I do really want to read you a book, and the one that I picked is this one, Don't Turn the Page. You don't have any writing to do for this lesson. I just wanted to come on here and explain to you how important it is to have a title for your story. And when you write your title, you capitalize every important word. See how they did? They capitalized don't turn page. The is small because it's not considered an important word. All right, you ready to read it? How about a bedtime story? Mama asked. Sammy shook her head. I don't want to go to bed. I'm not tired yet. All right, said Mama. Why don't you pick out a book to read later? We have a Sammy in our class. All right, let's see. Sammy pulled a new one from the shelf. Just read the first page, she said, climbing onto the sofa. Mama read. Here's Mama reading, and I'm going to read to you what was on her book. The sun went down and fell asleep. The moon rose overhead, and Little Bear of Rambling Woods prepared to go to bed. That's enough, said Sammy. Don't turn the page. Mama slipped a bookmark between the pages. Sammy thought for a moment. How do bears get ready for bed? She asked. I don't know, said Mama. Sammy lifted the edge of the page and peeked. She liked the picture. What does it say? She asked. Mama read. Here's Mama. Such a loving, patient Mama she is. The sleepy cub went to his cave, and with a growly yawn, he slipped into his jammies and put fuzzy slippers on. That's what her book read. This is the page inside her book. Sammy gave a growly yawn. I'm going to put on my jammies like Little Bear, she said. But that's all. Don't turn the page. Mama helped Sammy into her jammies and fuzzy bear slippers. Do bears have story time too? Sammy asked. Mama shrugged. Maybe we should find out, Sammy said. So Mama read. At first she didn't want to go to bed at all, but now she's doing what her book did. All right, this is what her book says. When Little Bear was dressed for bed, he chose a storybook, and then he brushed his pearly teeth beside the babbling brook. Here's her book. There's the bear in her story, preparing for bed. Sammy held up her hand. No more, she said. Don't turn the page. Mama and Sammy sat still for a moment. Little Bear brushed his teeth. So I will too, said Sammy. But I won't go to bed yet. Fair enough, said Mama. Sammy turned on the faucet. Maybe you can read to me while I brush my teeth, she said. So Mama read. There she is, brushing her teeth, and her mama's reading to her. So sweet. Mama helped her little bear climb up into his bed so he could cuddle close to her and rest his sleepy head. So here's her story of the bear after he brushed his teeth. Sammy rubbed her eyes. Will you cuddle with me too? She led Mama to her room. They snuggled up together. I wonder what happens next, said Mama. I'll let you read one more page, said Sammy. So Mama read. There they are, getting ready to get into bed. But remember, Sammy didn't want a bedtime story. Why? She didn't want to go to bed. This is her story. As crickets sang a lullaby and stars blinked a dreamy light, his mama read a fairy tale and kissed her cub good night. That's her story. The mama bear reading to the baby bear. Let's see what Sammy's doing. Mama puckered up. Stop! Sammy put a finger to her lips. It's not good night time yet, she said. Don't turn the page. Perhaps I'll read it to your teddy bear, said Mama. Sammy hugged her bear. Okay, she said, but just a teeny bit. He's not tired either. She closed her eyes and listened. Do you think Sammy is tired? I think so. I think she's just pretending that she's not. So if you hear a snoring sound beneath a weeping willow, it's little bear of rambling woods asleep upon his pillow. Look, the bear in her story fell asleep. I wonder what Sammy's doing. Should I turn the page? Mama asked. Sammy didn't answer. Mama looked down at her snoring softly. Then she turned the page and read. So there she is. She fell asleep. But Mama still turned the page, and this is what she read. The end. They had made it to the end of their book, and Sammy ended up getting all ready for bed because that's what the character in her story was doing. And then there's a beautiful picture at the end of the night sky. Well, if we would have seen this title when I showed you all three books, maybe you would have known to pick this one. But I thought that it was a cute title, and so I wanted to read it to you now. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, every story needs a title. And when we write our title, we capitalize all the important words. All right, that's it. You don't need to do any handwriting today. I just wanted to tell you that and read you a story. Bye-bye.